What's going on, everyone? No, I didn't like that.
Take two.
Hey, everyone. Jacob Resnick here, welcoming you to Mets Prospective, presented by Verizon, a series focused on the up-and-coming talent in the Mets minor league system. I'm joined by my good friend, Joe DeMayo. And Joe, it's exciting to have the minor league season back after the season was canceled in 2020. We've already seen some great performances just a few weeks in. What have you seen?
I never thought that I'd have a year where I didn't have minor league baseball to cover. So it's definitely a very weird year. Super excited to have baseball back. And the Mets have a lot of exciting prospects that we're going to be talking about over the coming months here. A lot of them, of course, are in the single A range down in Port St. Lucie and in Brooklyn. Their top prospects, my number one prospect in the system, Francisco Alvarez. I have him at the top of my list. Then Ronny Mauricio, also in Brooklyn. Unfortunately, top pitching prospect Allan is undergoing Tommy John surgery, going to miss the entire 2021 season. And just this week, we found out that Crow-Armstrong, who I have ranked as the number 4 prospect in the system, is likely to miss the rest of the season due to a shoulder injury.
Yeah, really disappointing news for both Allan and Crow-Armstrong, coming off the canceled 2020 season. Really looking forward to watching those guys in full season ball this year in 2021. Unfortunately, we won't get that. Crow-Armstrong, he's a really mature, poised guy off the field. I think that's really going to serve him well as he faces this adversity, maybe for the first time in his career. He's going to try to come out of the other side of this stronger than when he came into it.
And despite this tough news, there's still a lot of talent at the bottom of the system. In Port St. Lucie with Francisco Alvarez, and then in High A Brooklyn, you have Ronny Mauricio, who I have ranked as the number 3 prospect in the system, and third baseman Baty, who I rank number 5.
You did mention how all the young talent at the top is at the bottom of the system in Brooklyn and St. Lucie. You mentioned Alvarez and Ronny Mauricio and Baty in Brooklyn have just been fantastic so far with, about a week and a half worth of games so far. They've just been hitting, and that's what we expected them to do. Another guy, Mark Vientos, is pushing up to Double A, so good to see them start to try to get the prospects that they like up into the higher levels of the system. When you're looking at the upper levels of the minor leagues, not much in terms of top prospect power, looking at more depth pieces that could come up and help the Mets throughout the course of the major league season. We did, however, see one of the top prospects playing in AAA, Khalil Lee, the Mets got in the 3-team trade with the Royals and Red Sox just before spring training started. The Mets called him up recently to the major leagues, more out of need, but Lee is an exciting talent, lots of tools, athleticism, power. The Mets don't really have a ton of top prospects in terms of outfielders in the minor league system. Lee is one of them.
Let's focus on who most consider the Mets top prospect. I have him number 1 on my list. Jacob, I know you have him number 2 behind Ronny Mauricio, and that's 19-year-old catcher Francisco Alvarez.
Well, there are a lot of prospects throughout baseball that show the power potential. But there are very few catchers that show the power potential that Alvarez has. It's just really exciting at such a young age. You said 19, to see everything come together like that. He's gotten high marks for his maturity, the way he works with the pitching staff, and then of course his hit tool and his power potential is already starting to show playing with St. Lucie. So I know this organization is extremely high on him. One thing to keep in mind is the fact that he's just 19 years old. He's very far away from the major leagues, and it's going to be a while before Mets fans see him in Queens. But I really think it's going to be worth the wait because on both sides of the ball, just exciting plus potential.
When I look at Alvarez, the reason I put him number 1 is I basically had a tiebreaker of who do I think is most likely to be a major league all-star one day. And I said Alvarez, so that's really kind of what put Alvarez at the top for me. Super exciting bat, like you said. He's shown plus power early on, the ability to barrel up balls to all fields with high exit velocities. And defensively, all around, it seems like grades are pretty solid on him. He's got some good pop times on his throws. He's a big guy. He's built to be a catcher. At the end of the day, I think Alvarez is a guy that's simply going to hit. He's going to get through the minor league system, and he's a guy that truly does have star potential for the Mets.
This week's guest is the Mets Director of Player Development, Jeremy Barnes.
The season's very young right now, but in my as a 19-year-old kid that's a catcher, he's showing plus power. I mean, like, he's hitting the ball hard on a consistent basis, which is always incredibly exciting. And the thing that excites me the most in just the short season so far, and what we saw in spring training, was he's drawing his walks. He's not up there just being overly aggressive and swinging everything that comes his way. Like, there's a plan up there, and he's implementing it. Everything's there. He's a big, strong guy. He can block. He can throw. He can do all the things that we want him to do. He can receive. It's just taking it to the next level. I'll quote Tommy Joseph, who I just was with him the other day, and he played in the big leagues as a catcher, and I asked him his thoughts on it. He said he's nailed. He's just a solid defender. Now, does he need to get better? Absolutely. We all need to get better. You look at his game as a 19-year-old kid, and there's just, you get really excited. There's not a lot that you stand out that goes like, ooh, this is highly concerning. Like, he's just a solid player right now, and he needs to get better in all aspects. But again, he's shown the personality and the willingness to put the work in and do it.
What is your perspective on the aggressive versus patient approach in placing players assignment-wise, and when to promote to the next level? And how does that pertain to Alvarez specifically, who, of course, it's early on, but so far he's tearing the cover off the ball. At what point do you, think about a move up potentially? Everyone
has prospects. Everyone has technology. Everyone has good coaches. How we use that and the decisions we make on that are our competitive advantage. And that involves calling a player up, when to not call a player up. And so, like, it's a collaborative effort. All things are saying that, like, he's doing awesome right now. But it is early, and we don't want to, just be reckless and just start moving guys all around. So we want to see him continue doing this stuff. We are incredibly excited about this, and we want to make sure that we're judging him on things that that we can hold on to firmly, and make sure that we're weeding out any of the noise and biases and subjective stuff that comes with a small sample size in baseball.
Fans love to look at comps specifically, what they might be able to compare a player to in terms of their major league counterparts. Is there, I guess, either one catcher or maybe a couple catchers who Francisco's skill set kind of reminds you of?
Oh goodness, you're putting me on the spot here. I probably don't have a great answer. Yachty's one, and I can't say he compares directly to Yachty, but I know that I've looked at Yachty's development progressions and what that may look like. I by no means am I saying he has a Yachty arm or is going to be a Yachty or Molina player. I can't say that yet, and I think I'm too naive in my catching expertise to make that claim at the moment. But we are looking at some of the top catchers in the game and how they've developed, and maybe what timelines may look like, and traits that he may be compared to. And again, I'll say it. I am incredibly excited about watching this guy progress and what he could be. I don't know what he's going to be yet, but I think he's going to be exciting. And I think, as Mets fans that are tuned into the minor leagues, keep an eye on this guy. I think he's special.
A lot of great stuff there from Jeremy Barnes. Joe, what was your biggest takeaway from what he had to say about Alvarez?
For me, obviously talking about the bat, we mentioned that's something that, is very well known, that this guy has a truly special bat. But what stuck out to me was the fact that he talked about his maturity at the plate, where he's willing to take his walks. And if he's willing to take those walks, that's really going to do more for the power in his game, because now pitchers won't be able to throw breaking balls away and make him chase and really limit the power output that he can do. And then, of course, when you ask for a comp, and I know he very reluctantly mentioned this name, but when you hear the name Yachty or Molina involved with anybody related to a catcher, you're talking about a Hall of Famer. So maybe he won't end up quite Yachty or Molina behind the plate, but if there's anything close comparison-wise, the Mets truly do have something very special on their hands. When's the last time the Mets had a catching prospect that had the chance to be special in their system?
Yeah, the last time the Mets had a catcher at the top of their system was Travis d'Arnaud, and he was a trade acquisition in the R.A. Dickey trade with the Blue Jays that also got the Mets Noah Syndergaard. So it certainly has been a while. Kevin Plawecki was the guy they drafted at a high pick and developed him. He obviously turned into more of a backup catcher profile. So Alvarez has a very unique shot to become a catcher that this system develops, and it's going to be exciting to follow his track through the minor leagues. All right, Joe, we've talked about the top guys in this system. Now give us a diamond in the rough that has caught your attention so far early in the minor league season, maybe someone that we're not talking about as much.
I'm going to go with AA right-hander Tylor Megill. Big 6'7" right-handed starting pitcher there that the Mets drafted out of the University of Arizona. And in instructs last fall and in this past minor league spring training, he's really ticked up his stuff. His fastball is up to 98. He did a grip change on his slider that has really altered the movement on it, and now you're seeing it really flash more as a plus pitch. I think there's a chance he ends up a reliever. He's someone that I think if the Mets wanted to push as a bullpen arm, he'd be someone that could potentially make his big league debut in 2021.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about a little earlier how, the AAA roster is not exactly brimming with prospects, but one guy I've been really interested to see pitch some more is Sam McWilliams, who the Mets signed as a major league free agent this offseason, despite not having any major league experience. He came over as a free agent from the Rays organization, and his profile really switched with them. He had a chance to pitch at the Tampa Bay alternate site during the 2020 season, and his profile just looks completely different now. He's throwing harder. He's a big guy, 6'7", throws hard, up to 97 miles an hour. His sliders look good as well. His mechanics are different than they have been in the past, and he pitched in big league spring training and looked good. And it's going to be interesting to see as he develops with Syracuse, and because he signed a major league contract, he is on the 40-man roster, which means the Mets could call him up at any time if they need someone to fill a role in their bullpen. That's going to do it for us this week. He's Joe DeMayo. I'm Jacob Resnick. We'll see you next time on Mets Prospective, presented by Verizon.
Baseball on the beach is back. The Brooklyn Cyclones host Hudson Valley and Aberdeen now through May 30th. For ticket options, visit brooklyncyclones.com.